disagree with it. And it's always me.
Okay. Now your tweets are protected, so can I even tag you in tweets?
Oh, you know what? That's my old... Is that Claire the Scare?
Yes!
Okay, so that was my college one, and then when I decided to do stand-up publicly, I'm actually Sorry Don't Claire on Twitter, which is a whole different thing, which is a...
Hold on.
I've been getting tagged in the show. The tweets about the show.
Well, I did it wrong. It's okay. I'm going to delete it and retweet it.
No. I think I have been getting them because I've been getting all those notifications.
No, but I just now tweeted
oh, okay.
the locked account. So what am I supposed to tweet? I'm supposed to tweet... What's your @ name?
Sorry Don't Claire.
I knew it was something like that.
It's not great. It's not great branding to have a different Twitter name and Instagram name, but...
No, it's not. It makes everything difficult.
It does.
Sorry Don't Claire. Okay. That looks like you.
Yes.
In the tiny avatar that
yes,
I can
yes,
sort of
yes.
Retweet it again with the correct name. All right. And we're still on. Hold on, I have to actually push this button here. That's fun. Did that work?
Probably. I'm on Instagram now. I'm taking a pic with the Weekly Humorous logo.
Oh, boy.
All right. I am ready.
You ready?
Uh-huh.
It's exciting. You're all over the place. You're social media 360.
Yes. I mean, it's all disorganized and I'm just throwing everything I can out there. Okay, now I'm done.
Now you're ready?
Now I'm ready.
I mean, we've already started.
Oh my God, has this been going?
Of course.
Oh, I love that.
It's all part of it.
Now I turn on. People are going to hear the fake me and the real me. They'll be able to compare it.
Is there a huge difference? No,
absolutely not. There's literally, I have truly no filter in a way that's problematic. I'm at work. I work at like a pretty conservative finance firm. I'm like a private equity. And the other day I called my boss baby by accident. And I was just like, God, why can't I control a single word that comes out of my mouth? I don't know how.
Let me introduce you real quick.
Okay.
Hi, and welcome to Talkward. I'm Marty Dundix, editor-in-chief of Weekly Humorous Magazine, and this is Talkward, a fun little podcast where professionally funny people come to tell awkward and cringeworthy stories. I'm excited about today's guest because I've never met her before, but she's doing the Guaranteed Delivery stand-up show next week. Claire Parker. Thanks for coming on the show, Claire Parker.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're a stand-up comic.
Yes, I am.
You act in all kinds of fun comedy projects.
I'll say yes to almost anything. If somebody
You'll
were
say yes to, well, that's how I got you to do this
I will
show.
literally say yes to anything. If somebody were to tweet at me and be like, I have 10 minutes for you in my basement in Pennsylvania, I'd be like, I'm getting on a bus.
Sounds
I'll meet
good.
you there.
I'm performing for my mom and a pet iguana. I'm there.
I'm performing for my own death, but hey, stage time is stage time.
So you've been doing stand-up for how long in New York City?
I'd say I started in New York. I've been doing it for about 4 years. I started right after college, and then I would say there was kind of like a year.
Where'd you go to school?
I went to Columbia, so I was in New York.
Ooh,
I
fancy.
know, I'm sorry. It's been nothing but a
So what happened?
Yeah, that's the question. And now I'm like a receptionist, and I work in finance. And I was talking to one of the interns. I could tell he was like really in that kind of college intern mindset of like everything matters, every grade matters. If you don't get the perfect job at 22, you'll fail.
Wow.
And he found out I went to Columbia, and the look on his face literally was just, "Are you hurt? Are you sick? Like what went
happened?
wrong?"
Aw.
What went wrong is I had a dream, and somebody let me follow it for some reason.
What was that dream? Oh, comedy?
Comedy. No.
Oh, that's you. It's 4 years.
It's 4 years. It's not. I mean, yeah. No, it's fine. I don't
You're
regret it. I look at
great.
And I don't. I look at my friends who went.
Where
more
were you
corporate.
this morning on a much bigger show than this?
Yes, I was on You Up with Nikki Glazer. It was no. I mean, it's fun. I don't regret it, and I'm happy every day. And I don't even mind my day job. But it is funny when I'm sitting there like filing things. I'm like, wow, my friends are like pretty professional, and they have vacations and
vacation homes. Even.
Yeah. They have lives and partners and
things.
Yeah, they can go on trips. And they get manicures and go out to eat.
Manicures and pedicures.
I
Both.
dare to dream.
Yeah.
One day.
Yeah.
If I get to the Oscars, maybe I'll splurge for a pedicure.
Did you watch the Oscars?
I was on a plane. I literally turned it on for 1 second on my plane ride, and not Gwen Stefani, Lady Gaga was singing "Shallows," and I was like, "Is this the only thing that's happened in this country this year?" Like, it really was. Like, I turned it on for 1 minute, and I was like, "Was she singing this song for the last 4 hours?" I don't understand how that could be.
It was a hot performance.
I've seen the stills.
Her and Bradley Cooper together on stage. It was like everybody simultaneously like orgasmed across the United States.
It was,
everyone got kind of quiet and like.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen the stills and the way they look at each other.
It was hot.
I'm actually a huge celebrity relationship conspiracy theorist. I think almost 90% of relationships in Hollywood are fake. I don't believe that him and Irina Shayk even have a baby together. Like, I really think the whole thing is.
Well, she broke up with her fiance, is what I heard.
For him?
Well, there's speculation, but even if it's not,
even if you're saying that, my feeling is,
even if it's not for him specifically, it's because she's now comparing everything to him. And it's like, well, you're no Bradley Cooper.
Oh, you're talking about Lady Gaga, not Irina Shayk. Okay.
No, is that Bradley Cooper's wife?
Nobody even knows. Yeah, that's her name. That's his girlfriend's name.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm sure they're fine.
I don't believe they're a real couple, so that's why I feel like it's not. People are really worried about her feelings after that emotional, romantic performance, and I don't even think that they're. I think it's a contract.
Acting.
I think it's a contractual obligation to both women. I think I know men who have had sex with Bradley Cooper, so it could very well be that he's gay, and this whole thing is a farce because he feels he needs to.
It's Hollywood. Everyone can have sex with everybody else.
But
it's like the Roman Empire.
Yes,
just have fun.
I do. Yeah, it's just there's no rules out there. It's all
fine.
hedonistic. Everyone's having sex with everyone.
It's like everybody who is contractually obligated to pretend to be dating Ryan Seacrest.
I believe that. Yeah. Oh, he's so scary.
He's like a robot man.
And he like owns like all of it.
You're watching the pre-show of the Oscars, and he's there, and he's always on. He's on everything. You're like, why is it that this guy is the host of everything now? Like, who
because
decided?
He's like the executive producer of everything. He's deciding.
Why is he deciding?
I know. I used to work in PR. I was like an assistant at a global PR firm that did corporate PR. They had like 75 offices across the globe, and they were being undermined by a 100-person company owned by none other than Ryan Seacrest. That's how powerful he is.
That's the same company that makes the Kardashian show.
Yeah,
right?
It's like his production company, but now they've gone into like PR and advertising because they have all the celebrity clout, and that's all that ads are anymore. It's like all Instagram influencer stuff. So he's he's taking over like so many more.
It's like those fuck Jerry people.
Yes,
from the Hulu and
exactly
the
that. Then they do ads and stuff.
The Fire Festival.
You think they're just all fun and games and memes and stealing, but then they're secretly rolling out launch plans for like corporations.
Yeah.
So that's the right.
So that's what's going on in your head all day.
Well, I'm just like, I don't. Yeah, Ryan Seacrest is somebody I would not fuck with. He's
like a demon.
I'll say anything about anybody to their face behind their back, but not Ryan Seacrest, because I really do believe that like people are worried about Putin and stuff. No. Yep, yeah. It's Ryan. Ryan Seacrest is going to take over this entire planet while we're not looking.
I think he takes off his face. Oh, like it's like the whole thing is just like a fake
for sure.
mask.
Yeah. What do you think he is under there? Like a robot, an alien, a cyborg, a demon?
Maybe it could be an alien. He could be like the beginning of an overall like infiltration of the galaxy. He could be a spy.
Yes,
like an alien spy. I'd be fine with that. If he was like a lizard, has like a lizard face.
Yes,
it would make sense.
It would make sense, and I would be happy that I lost to like a superior being. It'd be hard for me to just think like, oh, that guy has better ideas than me. Like that guy knows how to produce television. I can't figure it out. But if I was like, oh, he's like from a superior like race of aliens, I'd be like, well,
they had the jump on us.
The jig is up. They already traveled the universe to get here. Of course, they built the Kardashians by hand.
They did. Did you start doing stand-up comedy when you were in college at Columbia?
No. So when I was in college, the genesis of that was kind of like I started a blog, I'd say my senior year, that did better than I mean, it didn't do well by anybody's true standards, but better than I had expected, and it kind of became a little cult classic among my college grade.
What was it a blog about? Comedy?
It was not about comedy. It was just like a funny like
blog.
Humorous little blog post about like my life and the experiences and stuff. I'd like satirize like fashion blogs. I'd make fun of like trying to find a job, like anything in my life that I was coming across. And then once that, I like really was like, oh, this is what I want to do. Like this is what I love, and this is what I've always wanted to do. So I wanted to be a TV writer, and I truly had no idea how to even begin approaching that. It felt very like there's like a high barrier to entry, and then I found out you can't even apply to things without representation, and I just was like, well, I don't know how to begin that, but like stand up, that's something I can go do tomorrow. And then I would say, I guess in September I went to my first ever open mic, and then it took me about a year, I'd say, to like situate the rest of my life in a way that I could like set up my day-to-day life in a way that I could continue pursuing comedy long term. But then, I knew that that's what I wanted to do. And then I'd say by the next fall, I had kind of figured out a day job situation, a living situation, even just the schedule of mics in a way that I was like, okay, now I'm doing this.
What are your favorite mics to do? I go to a lot of stand-up shows, and I have like favorite little places I like to hang out in. And it seems like, did you start out doing open mics?
Yes. 100%.
So the best open mic that I saw, that I've been to, because I have a small world because I'm in Park Slope, and I don't like leaving my like 2-block radius in Park Slope, so I like going to Halyards.
Halyards is great for me because I'm in Williamsburg and I work in Manhattan, so Halyards was always a little bit off the beaten path. I've gone to that and had a great time. I tend to stay very L based. When I started, I started the Grizzly Pear Lantern Circle and like that kind of 3-block radius of comedy, like Comedy Cellar adjacent, like spin-off wannabes, like in that world. And then when it got taken over by Laughing Buddha, which is like an open mic company, I left because it became paid mics, and I just like honestly could not afford. I was doing 3 or 4 mics a day.
So you had to pay to perform?
Mm-hmm. So Laughing Buddha is a company where it's a $5 to sign up plus a drink minimum, and it's kind of for people who either don't know better or are kind of doing it as a hobby. Because I mean, in order to if you're doing 3 mics a day and you're now spending $5 to sign up, $4 on a seltzer, $1 for tip, that's $10 a mic. You can't really afford. I can't afford to do $150 a week on mics. You know what I mean? And I don't think anybody who's seriously pursuing stand up at the rate that most open mic New Yorkers can. So it is, you go and it's a weird group of like new people, and then like men who just had babies and like hate their wife and are now like, oh no, I never pursued my hobby. Like it's like a lot of people where I'm like, you shouldn't be here. It's too late for you, dude. Like it's very like they come once a week.
Some people are very. I went to the open
design
mic.
Job.
I had an intern this summer, and she was from a very small country town in Georgia. And she was out in the big city for the whole summer because she was my intern. It was very fun, and she was doing all these fun things. And one of her goals was she wanted to do stand-up comedy for the first time. So she was writing jokes and stuff. She had never done it before. We went to Halyards for their open mic. It's very supportive. It's really neat, and the crowd was really cool. And there was a high, huge variety of talent levels when you go to an open mic, because a lot of times it is people who are real comics. Maybe we're just trying something out, and they're trying to get like a feedback from other working comics, not to go. So there were people who were really good, and then there was a guy that was so scary. He was like 6'9". He was so tall, and he had this crazy hair, and you thought it was like he was doing kind of a shtick character that was just like a scary guy, and you thought it was going to break at some point and be funny, and it just got scarier and scarier, and people just didn't make a noise because they just didn't want to draw any attention to themselves, and then he just kind of left, and it was all about
open mics are wild.
It was all about like murdering his girlfriend and dragging her body down. It was really, there was no punchline. It was just dark, and we were like,
I always tell people, if you want to see someone have a breakdown in 4 minutes or less, go to like an Eastville open mic. That's the cool thing. Like in New York, there's so many different mics, and they all are very different, and I think they all serve different purposes, and I don't think anyone should ever just go to one open mic or one type of open mic. I know people come up and be like, what are the most supportive open mics? And I don't think that that's the way to do it. I don't think you should only – because there are a handful of open mics where the cool kids go, and the people who are – they're not just starting out. They're a couple years in, and they have a footing, and you go, and everybody's pretty good. And you get 2 minutes. It's rapid fire. It's kind of sceney. And that's a great mic for a very specific purpose, which is to come show off the latest material that you've finished in open mics, like a material that's good for a show, and kind of showcase it to comedians that are at your level or a little bit better, to kind of show that you've been growing and what you have to do, and then you could get like booked off. Like people will see you and be like, oh, that was a great joke. But then you also have to go to the shitty mics, because you can't go to a mic like that and try something legitimately new that you don't know and bomb, because people are going to take away that memory. And then but there's like 4 p.m. open mics where there's 2 people, nobody's listening, one of them's homeless. You get 7 minutes. It's the middle of the day. And it's terrible, and you won't get nobody on the planet could go in and get a laugh. But I think that's just as valid in terms of sometimes you just have to talk for 7 minutes, and 7 minutes in this town is rare.
It's just holding the mic,
hearing it out loud.
Yeah, getting your beats, getting your pauses sometimes, in.
In your head, everything sounds funny, and then you say the words, and you're like, I don't even know that this is a coherent thought. Like sometimes you really do just have to say something out loud and see what part of the idea is funny, or see where it goes, or see if you even feel comfortable saying it. Sometimes you'll have an idea that is maybe pushing the boundaries, then you get up on stage and you go, there's literally no way I could ever say this in a way that's confident enough to make it work.
Yeah.
And so I feel like every mic, I mean, go to supportive mics, but also go to not supportive mics and learn how to sit in the silence, because I feel like for me, learning to not care, that translates to good shows. Because like, even on a good show, I have a problem right now, I think, on stage, where for good shows, I have this energy of like, this means so much to me and I want it so badly, and the crowd can read that and they don't like that.
Yeah, it's like a self-destructive.
Yeah, I come out and I feel like there's just like this like eager earnestness about me. Like, I want this so badly, I really hope it works. And people don't like that. People want you to go on and kind of have a fuck you attitude. Like, I've had shows that I've come to and I haven't had a good show in a couple days, and I'll go and I'll be nervous and hope I do well and not do well. And then I'll do a better show and then go to that exact show later and not care, because it's like batting with weights on or something. And I go in and I have such a whatever happens, happens attitude, and it goes way better because they want you to be calm and confident and cool and collected.
Yeah. People can sense the tenseness.
Even if you're doing a character that's awkward. Like, you look at something like Joe Pera.
Yeah.
He is so, I mean, his whole vibe is uncomfortable, but you trust him.
Right.
It's an uncomfortability that you trust.
He's going somewhere with it that you're interested in.
Yeah, you're honest. Or someone like Jacob Williams is like quiet and awkward, but he has such a quiet command of the stage and such an incredible stage presence that it's like, you can do awkward well, you can do uncomfortable and insecure well. But if you're really up there and like shaking, they'll know and they won't.
And people
like
are scared for you.
Yeah, so I feel like you have to do go do mics that are really shitty, because it does kind of teach you something. It teaches you that none of this matters. We're all gonna die. Kevin Hart's still gonna die.
So you've been doing this for 4 years, and what have you learned in 4 years?
Oh my God!
Just the confidence? Do you have a solid? Do you have a solid half hour?
Do I have a solid half hour? I have literally like one joke on paper that I would stand by unless someone told me it was bad, in which case I'd go, you're right, this sucks.
So you have no material.
No, I have not one thing that I've said twice. No, I mean, I've definitely gotten better over 4 years. I watched
a bunch of your videos on YouTube.
Oh, did you like that?
I did some show prep.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. And then you still booked me, so I guess or maybe you went back and went, fuck. This was a mistake.
Yeah, I was trying to text you, actually, not to come in, and you did not get it. You were ignoring all of
I was underground coming here.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah. That's okay.
But
no, I thought you were very funny.
Oh, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I really try my hardest. I try so hard. Sometimes people who don't know I'm a comedian, like at work, will be like, oh, you're funny. And I'm like, you have no idea how hard I try. Like, you cannot even begin to fathom how much effort I've put into that one quip. Just years and years of honing.
Who were your favorite? When you were younger and you were watching comedians, what kind of comedian did you like?
You know, I didn't grow up watching stand-up, and I feel like I never really meant to be a stand-up. And then I love TV. I like truly love a 30-minute sitcom.
Yeah, it's comforting.
I love a sitcom. I mean, even like I'd say something like The Comeback, like Lisa Kudrow's The Comeback, Veep, shows like
oh, I love Veep,
like a genius funny show like that. That's always what I want to do, and that's always kind of been my end goal, is to write a TV show. Mm-hmm. And then I just got into stand-up because they can't force you not to. You know what I mean? Like, nobody can make you stop.
There's no gatekeeper that says you're not allowed to do this.
If you put your name on a list in a bucket at an open mic, they physically cannot prevent you from getting on that stage. And so that was very appealing to me. And then it's just, I mean, it's such a high.
Nobody could prevent me not to do this.
Yeah, no, literally nobody can stop me. And so that's the reason I'm doing this and nothing else, because people have said no pretty much in every other facet of this industry. But this is the one thing, they can't make me shut up. So I'm still doing stand-up. But I definitely have gotten more into, I mean, I just like kind of got addicted on the way. And now it's funny. I look back and think about like the weird times my life intersected with stand-up earlier. But I was never like the kid at 7 who found a special and was just like, oh, this is it for me forever.
Well, is there a comic that you kind of look to as a style influence?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I remember like the first comic I ever heard and was just like knocked over and loved so much was Maria Bamford. And I would not call, I mean, she is somebody who I thought was so funny that it made me not want to do stand-up. Like, it was one of those things where, like, people are always like, I loved you. It's what made me want to do it. I'm like, wow, I watched her and went, I shouldn't do this. She's doing it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, she is so funny. I could never be that funny. What's the point of trying? But I'd say since I started, there's definitely like a lot of women that I'm like, I love them. So I mean, I love Nikki Glaser. I love Amy Schumer. I love Lisa Traeger. I remember seeing Megan Gailey at an open mic the first time I ever did stand up, and being like, oh, I don't need to be here. Somebody's already doing exactly what it is I want to be doing.
Yeah.
Like
someone's already doing it 1,000 times better.
Yeah, I'm like, well, I could go home. The story is being told. But I'd say, a lot of it is like, since the fact like people I love, and I'm not a screen, like I don't laugh at screens, so I'm not like a special person, but I'll go and watch like stand up at the Cellar or like Black Cat and stuff, and just like live comedy to me I think is like the most incredible thing.
Oh, it's so much fun.
It's so much.
It's like electric.
And it's hard for me to appreciate a good special. Like to me, like what makes stand-ups incredible is like how much control they have over the audience.
Well, did you see the Adam Sandler special?
No, I've heard it's great though.
Oh, it's so cool.
People love. I should watch it.
It's really cool. You should definitely watch it.
The problem is I see so much stand-up all the time that I go home and it's just. I know, but it's like I'm never like I'm home at 11:30. I've just spent 6 hours watching it, and to like.
Yeah, take a night off, or if you have time, or if you're doing something else. Like I think I had it on when I was doing something else. And I had it on like a different screen or something. It's on Netflix, and I was watching, and I didn't think I would be blown away by a stand-up special.
People love it, right?
I was like, whatever. But then you watch it, and wow, it's so original. You're like, how did they reinvent this medium? And it was so cool, and I was so impressed. It's Adam Sandler.
Yeah.
He's old. What are you doing? Grown Ups 4. Like, you didn't think there's anything left. And then it was amazing. You're like, oh, shit, this is like SNL Adam Sandler.
Yeah, I've heard. I mean, I have
incredible.
Heard. I should go back and watch.
And then, because I mean, I don't sit there and watch specials, and then they come on because once you watch one thing, they start auto playing, and you're like, "What is this?" Ray Romano.
I just say Ray Romano kills me. I haven't seen a special yet.
His special was great.
I went to some showcase recently, or like last year, where they had a bunch of late night hosts, and then him.
Yeah.
And so it was like Jimmy. Oh God.
All the Jimmys.
One of the maybe. No, Seth Meyers. There we go.
Okay.
It was everybody but a Jimmy. It was Seth Meyers. It was Oliver.
John Oliver?
John Oliver. I'm sorry. They all have
Oliver
the same.
Twist?
They all have the same stupid name. It's
they
so
all
hard.
do, yeah.
John Oliver, and it was people like that. And I was watching them, and as a stand-up, every joke they began, I was like, well, I could tell you exactly where this is going to end. And then Ray Romano went up there, and I was crying. I was laughing. So like he was so good, and I was like, whoa, that's somebody who's like just out there doing stand. It was so good.
Well, because sometimes I feel like there's different kinds of stand-up, obviously, and there's different kinds of people that tell jokes, and some people are just they are the act.
Yes,
they are. Their persona is just the act. It's everything about them, their life. How do they get out of bed in the morning? It's like this, like the tiniest little minutia is their act, and then there's other people that just tell jokes. It's just like
I love a joke.
Ba-doom, ba-doom, ba-doom.
I love something I didn't see coming. I love a twist. I love a
Yeah. How long do you spend writing jokes? Do you have like a joke writing formula?
I think what works for me is I'll write a few minutes of I'll just write a few pages of what I think is funny, and then I'll just start honing it at open mics. I have a lot of stage fright, I think, and I have a lot of insecurity, so I try to get.
Why do you have insecurities?
Because I really want people to think I'm funny, and let me tell you, a lot have not.
Really?
I've bombed a ton in my life. I mean, so I like to go up and. Like something in the last year I've had to work on is kind of like being looser on stage and doing more crowd work. But I like to be like, here are the jokes. I've whittled them down to literally nothing but the part that makes people laugh. And so I'll go, and it's like I start with 3 minutes at an open mic. And over the course of 2 weeks, I just keep shaving away. It's like I'll do it and I'll see what part people relate to, and then I'll build on that, and then it's really just whittling down.
So like a 10-minute story turns into like a 2-second joke.
Literally like just a descriptive word that I'll use somewhere else. Do you know what I mean? It's something that I'll tack on later.
Yeah.
It really boils down to nothing. And then also I'm somebody who it's hard for me to maintain an excitement. So I'll do maybe a whole 3-minute story, and when I first start telling it, I'm really excited and it's funny because I'm having fun with it. But the more I tell it, it's hard for me to maintain that kind of excitement. And so then I have to look and be like, well, what words terrify? What's the joke here? And then I'll what can I keep long term in my act? And it'll be one line.
Yeah.
But that's the line that's actually a joke, and it's where the joke has to hold up despite my telling of it. If that makes sense.
It seems like people who can, because comedy or being funny isn't just on stage anymore. People are funny so they're funny on social media, they're funny on radio, they're funny on TV, and you're really good at doing the Instagram stuff.
Thank you so much.
You're all over the place with the jokes, and
thank you.
It's for me. It seems exhausting to me when I have to do stuff for Weekly Humorist and I have to put up, jokes or cartoons or Instagram stories, I'm just like, oh God, what a pain in the ass. But then other people like you and like Rosebud Baker, like you see, and they just are constantly putting up hilarious things on Instagram stories.
Well, I'm happy people like them. I'm almost scared people are like, this bitch again, get her out of here.
Yeah, it's funny, and I'm just impressed by the amount of like creativity people have with like the medium. Like it's not just standing up on stage and telling a joke. It's like being funny in that like. I don't know how long an Instagram story is. I think it's like 4 seconds or 5.
Yeah, they're like 10, they're
like
short.
People are really funny with like the stuff they put up.
Yeah, and I have to say, I love Instagram. I'm not great at Twitter. And they're two very different. I think on Instagram you have
visual.
Yeah, on Instagram you have the benefit of like a long-term brand where people like I can use my face, I can do expressions, I can do photos, juxtaposition, whatever.
Twitter's bare bones.
Twitter, I cannot tell you how many misses I have. How many times I've been like, this is it. This is the tweet that goes viral that gets me my show, and then like 4 days later, my mom was like, this didn't make sense to me.
Did you only write half of the joke?
Yeah. What are these words that you said? And I'm like, okay, nobody
got that one.
But yeah, I don't know. You just got to keep throwing out there. I keep owning. I don't know. Do you know Rachel Sennett?
Mm-mm.
She's a comedian. She's an open micer, but she is really great she built a brand on Twitter and Instagram that are very consistent with each other and is very consistent with her stand-up and is very consistent with like the sketches she puts out there. And she's somebody kind of looks, she's kind of in the vein of like a Kat Cohen or a Kate Berlant, like that kind of comedy. And she's really great. And she has a following. I had her on my podcast and people are like diehard fans of hers because any way you interact with her, you know exactly the type of person you're getting. And she'll tweet like 10 times a day and they all do great, and she just really, it's so consistent on brand, and I feel like that's what I always try to be like, what is my brand? And I think I'm better at being that on Instagram than I am on Twitter for whatever reason. But it's weird. People like describe yourself in 3 words, and I'm like, well, there's what I think I am, then there's how I actually come across, and you have to figure out a way to marry that and condense it and consolidate it, and then have every joke you do somehow be be like a symptom of whoever you think that real person. I don't know. It's hard.
Well, it's kind of like how, like Colbert, his tweets are very good, and they're always very on brand. They're always very like the setup is very one way, and then the punchline's totally a right turn, and that's every time. But they're also very smart. Like they're always very satirical.
But I mean, he had that whole thing where he had to go from being Colbert, the Republican, to Colbert, the late night host, and that was like he had to redefine his brand. And it's so easy to, I think, to have a brand that's a parody, because it's already built in. For, like once you pick what you're parodying, the brand is there. Yeah. And then to consolidate the human that is yourself. I had an English teacher one time say, like, the hardest thing to describe is your own face because you know it so well. Yeah. And so I do think that that's, like, part of the struggle as, like, a online comedian is figuring out your brand and being able to take whoever you are and, like, put it in a box and then put it next to you.
How did you describe your own face?
How would I describe my own face?
I mean, how did you answer the question?
I mean, it was a theoretical, it was a philosophical point about how when you're too close.
I just say amazingly handsome.
Yes, classically good looking,
dashing, perfect. If that's in one word,
ideal, the platonic ideal of a face. There is no physical face there. It's just the general populace's vision of beauty.
Exactly.
That's my face.
Well, I thought we were talking about my face.
That's your face. That was me. I said my as you. That was me. My first person was your first person.
I'll agree with you.
I was in.
That's fine.
I would describe my face as a long potato.
Okay.
On Reddit, people come after me a lot. For
really?
How I look.
What do you post on Reddit that gets
nothing?
The attention?
But I was.
People just write about you on Reddit?
I was tangentially in a Come Town sketch. Are you familiar with that podcast?
Yes.
So and they have a rabid fan base. Yeah. And so I was in 10 seconds of a Come Town sketch that was put out not even this most recent September, the September before that. And so it'll still come up sometimes. It's like I'm part of like the canon now. And they'll be like, is this girl hot? And then 400 incels are like, no! But people on there have been like, that girl has a head like a rhombus, which I'm like, I get it. And then somebody else goes, her head looks like a peanut. And I was like, it does.
People on Reddit are weird.
They're vicious.
People are very mean. I put up things for Weekly Humorist, and it's comedy. It's a comedy website. It's legitimately funny. There's people who are professionally funny making the content. Put up something, it's like the meanest things people can write. You're like, who are you? Like, what? What are you talking about? This isn't even like this is a joke. It's funny. You can, I guess, not like it, but the people are just evil.
People are vicious. I did a comedy show one time. Do you know Ian Finance? He's a comic. He works the cellar a lot. He's great. He's like a real New York, all over the place. Does every radio show. Does a lot of show. He's got a mustache and a bike, and he's like a real character. And
I like mustaches.
I did a show with him in like real rural kind of coal mining Pennsylvania for a bunch of like 65-year-old white dudes who in like some small town near where he was from. And I opened, and I wouldn't say it was a bomb. It was something like I came off very disappointed, but it wasn't like I got no laughs. It just took me a minute to get them on my side. And then even when they were on my side, they were like, prove it every time. You know what I mean? It was really like they were laughing at each joke they thought was funny.
What jokes didn't they like?
I don't know.
Your joke about comparing yourself to the pretty girl in the subway with the perfect blonde hair, but then she ends up being 4 years old. Yes. That's a great joke.
Thank you. And
very funny.
I feel like maybe they might have liked that one, but they hated my Venus Williams joke. I don't know if
I thought that was a very funny joke.
They did not like that. And I feel like sometimes I have to be aware when I leave New York how I come across. I do think I think maybe to open in that kind of town when I have like my hair and makeup, like not hair makeup, but like I can come across kind of like stuck up seeming, and then to open with a joke about how my ex is dating a celebrity. Yeah. Maybe, but also I don't know. Maybe it's just.
Well, lean into that. Be the stuck up.
And that's the thing is because I don't feel like that's who I am, so I don't like leaning into it in New York. But then sometimes I do have to be conscious of when I'm leaving town that like what New York normal goes for New York normal is not normal anywhere else. Do you know what I mean? Like here, like everybody knows somebody who might know Venus Williams, but you go to Dairytown, Pennsylvania, and it's not. But also, I think it comes up. I have a hard time. I think every set I starts a little wobbly because I don't know how to like be like. I like want them to like me so bad.
You're like Bambi learning how to walk.
Literally every single time. And I have one opener that I used to do really well because it was kind of self-deprecating in a perfect way, but it stopped working recently. So now I'm like, fuck. How do I start every set? And I'm back to square one. But it really is. I feel like every set it takes me almost 30 to 60 seconds to kind of get them on. I don't know how to like take the mic out of the stand in a likable
Just say
way.
that you're here as part of a Make-A-Wish Foundation.
Yeah, this is it for me. This is my last night.
Yeah, just be like, hey guys, just be nice to me.
I'm going to start and be like, hey, this is my first time doing stand-up. That's the way to start. Yeah. Because then they're all very impressed.
Right.
They're on your side and impressed. But
so I'd just be like, I did this on a dare.
I feel like even if I did that would be too flippant and unlikable.
Yeah, like who does this person think they are? Like, a dare, getting up to talk in front of us?
These people that like gave up their 2 hours of their night to be entertained. And I'm just like, this is a dare. I just thought I'd do it because I don't care, and this isn't whatever. Like that's like I have to be very careful because I know that I can very easily slip into somebody. But then you look at someone like Natasha Leggero, and she like leaned into it. Like I'd have to either commit really, really hard to it, or I have to, or in my mind, I have to get so funny that they like me in spite of themselves.
So you do a ton of comedy. How many days a week? A couple of days a week.
I'd say almost every day a week.
And you know everybody.
I know a lot of people.
You get around.
I do know a lot of people. I chat. I'm chatty.
You're chatty. And you meet people at the mics? Mostly?
Yeah, at the mics, at the shows. I'd say every time you do something, there's people there. You meet them every time. For people listening, if you guys are looking to do stand-ups, a mistake I think I made early on was thinking that it was like work and that you could go to your mics, do your shows, and then go home and have a separate social life. Go to the birthday parties, hang out after the shows, go to the shows you're not booked on, and like meet people because they have to be your friends. At the end of the day, almost everyone I know is more or less at the same level, and there's really no reason to book you over anyone else. People are booking the people they like.
Yeah.
People are booking the people that are friends with them. And people are booking the people that went to their birthday parties. And like it sounds silly, but like at the minutia of who's better than who is so small that that's what makes sense. And you have to meet these people because they will help you get better. They will put you on shows. They will.
Yeah, there's like a little it's like a fraternity of comedians in New York.
Yeah, you got to find your friends.
Everyone knows everybody kind of.
And like
network. Oh, yeah, they're good. I know them. I've seen them.
Yeah, and they
people
vouch
for you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
To have people vouch for you is huge. Just to have people like. I became really good friends with my best friend in comedy is this girl, Ashley Hamilton. And before I met her, I like didn't make that much content. And since meeting her, it's like because every time we're together, because we have identical goals of like we always want to be creating and writing and doing stand-up, we're never just hanging out. It's always like, what's a good idea for a podcast? What would be a funny sketch? Like everything we say, we are like thinking about it through the lens of how could we use this for comedy? And it just
it's all about content.
Yeah, and it really does help you put out, and it's just somebody to keep you accountable. It's important to make friends. That would be like my number one piece of advice to people. Like start.
Don't immediately just curse everybody out.
Yeah. Well, honestly, I think it is hard. You get in and you're like insecure and you think you're better than everybody, and you also think you're worse than everybody, and you sit in the back, and everybody seems to know each other. But you just got to keep going and sticking out, and eventually people will start to be nice to you. But you have to make the effort. You have to show up and make the effort.
And it takes a unique person to want to get up on top of a stage in front of a bunch of strangers and talk at them for 10 minutes and make
a megalomaniac
and like open their entire, the vulnerability of their lives to make these strangers laugh at them. It's a type of person. And that type of person, they gravitate together and they get each other more than like a regular person would get you.
And also I just even think it's beyond just the compatibility of the personalities. It's like I had a boyfriend when I started comedy, and we had to break up just because all I wanted to talk about was open mics. All I wanted to talk about was jokes. All I wanted to talk about was who getting what, and even just not even just in the theoretical, the art of comedy, but who was hosting what open mic and was it good and when did I get put up and all the beef and it's going to become, if you really seriously pursue it's going to become your whole world, and it's going to be what you want to talk about, because it's all. It's like anything else. You want to talk about the thing you're thinking about and doing, and you have to have people that you can talk to about it.
Yeah. I mean, anybody that's going to be in a relationship, the partner has to be very supportive of the comedy people.
Yes.
Because it's like your whole world.
Yes, exactly.
It's not like being some lame doctor.
No, that's stupid.
And you leave it at the hospital.
People die, and you go home and have dinner, and you talk about sports or something that matters.
Exactly. You turn it off. Comedy, 24/7. It's very important work.
Well, it's 24/7 because it's also 0/0. Do you know what I mean? It's like, I always explain it to people. I'm like, it's so bizarre because on the one hand, I'm always busy, and on the other hand, I literally have nothing I need to be doing. If I stop, you know what I mean? There's truly always a mic. There's always a script. There's always writing to be done. There's literally every minute of the day, there is something I could be doing for comedy. And yet, if I never did another minute of comedy for the rest of my life, not one person would miss me. It's like nobody needs me to be anywhere.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's not like a job.
No one's depending on you to bring hilarity.
And I think I do have a boyfriend now, and I feel like he's always confused because he's like, "When will you be free tonight?" And I'm like, I mean, I could be free right now,
but I'm
or
not.
I could be free tomorrow. Truly, I'm like, I could do a mic at 6, and a mic at 8, and a mic at 10, and then go home and write, and then listen to all my sets. Or I could do none of it. It literally does not matter to anybody but me.
And how often do you do all of that?
I would say for a good 2 years, I was minimum getting on stage 3 times a night.
A night? I thought you were gonna say a week.
No, I definitely think that now that I'm getting booked on more shows and I have more other projects going on, I let myself off the hook because I just I work full time, and right now me and Ashley were editing our web series that we just shot. So Saturdays,
I think I saw some of that on Instagram.
Yeah. So
what's that about?
It's about, what's the premise, or what's that about? Why are you guys doing that?
What's the premise?
It's called Bitchnesses. It's about just 2 bitches running a business, and it's about me and Ashley, and we have an Instagram consulting firm, and we're idiots, so it's tough. It's tough for us to run a business because we're stupid, and a lot of hijinks ensue. We don't make a lot of money.
What kind of clients does this pretend?
So so the premise is that we help companies pick models to promote their stuff, and we come up with the concepts. It's almost like a modern day ad agency. After we wrote the scripts, I realized it's almost exactly like Detroiters that was just on Comedy Central. It's that, but for Instagram with girls. I literally was watching. I was going, oh boy, it really. If I had not seen this already, I would have thought we stole it. It's pretty much that, and then so I think the first episode is we were losing out to a bigger, better agency that's really capitalizing on diversity. So they're photoshopping all their models fatter to be body positive, and then
so they're photoshopping them. They're not hiring bigger people.
No. They're just picking models that they're making bigger, and they're using our models, and so they win this big campaign, and we don't know what we're gonna do, and then last minute we realize that they're taking one of our white models and putting her in blackface, and we're like, don't do this, it's blackface, and so we go in and save the day. And so it's silly stuff like that.
It's like, you didn't think this was wrong. It's like that Dove soap.
Exactly.
Like the whole Dove soap campaign. Yeah, when they wash off the woman's race.
It's bad.
And that made it through.
It's unbelievable what people say yes to. I mean, well, it's funny because every week we're trying to think of the most insane things we could think of for this, and it all came true. So we came up with that, them putting a lot of bronzer on a girl to make her look black so that they could get the diversity pick for ad campaigns. And then, of course, there was that whole thing where all these Swedish girls were doing blackface ostensibly. They were pretending to be mixed race women on Instagram.
Wow.
And that was a whole scandal that people were going through and being like, hey, to all the followers of this model, she's not black. She's crimping her hair, dyeing it brown, and then bronzing a lot. Like, this is a white woman who has gotten work done to seem more racial. And so we were like, I can't believe that came true. And then we had another one where we invented the product Fit Fam Vineyards, which is a diet wine. That's a real thing. I mean, and then there was like a couple others where it was just like we could not think of anything crazy enough that people won't do.
Yeah, I feel like that's also the problem with some of the satire stuff that people are writing for like political stuff. They try to be really crazy, and then 6 months later, it's
just true.
It's worse, and you're like, wow, our thing isn't even slightly pushing the envelope anymore.
Well, I'm a huge reality TV fan. Like, I love The Real Housewives. I love all of like Vanderpump Rules. I love all those Bravo shows, and I am a firm believer that you cannot parody them because they're so insane. And somebody did.
It's true.
Casey Wilson and Danielle Schneider, who now have like a pretty famous podcast, try to do something called like the Hot Wives of Tampa or something. And it didn't take off, and I really believe because
it's not crazy enough.
There's just no way you can out crazy insane people. Like, they're truly insane.
Like, Burning Love was really funny, which was like a parody of like a Bachelor type show, and it was funny, but it's still not as crazy as The Bachelor.
The only person I've seen do a good job kind of satirizing them was Nathan For You did a really funny.
I love Nathan.
He did an episode where to try to find love, he creates but he's not parodying the show. He's like, I think you can satirize, but
he's satirizing it, and he's using real humans to interact with his crazy idea, and that's where the comedy is. A lot like Sacha Baron Cohen doing
exactly.
It's using real people to make it funny.
And I feel like he's not making fun of like the people, especially he's making fun of like the obsession with the fame. Like, what I mean? Exposing the obvious. He's exposing the truths of that show that the show denies, which is
as all the TV developers will say. He's holding up a mirror.
Yes. A real mirror, and it's like, you're not here for the right reasons.
I've been in a lot of TV development meetings. There's always that someone says holding up a mirror.
That's so funny.
At least like 5 times in a pitch. It's good. I say it. It's like shorthand now, and everyone's like, "Oh yeah, we like that." It's like a buzzword. Yeah,
mirrors. I love mirrors. Honestly, hold it up or don't. I've never seen a mirror I wasn't excited to look at.
That's good. That's part of your persona.
Yes. Being very self-absorbed, and it's funny,
very self-absorbed.
I went on Jim and Sam, and Sam made fun of me.
You should bring a mirror on stage.
Maybe I will. Maybe a little handheld.
Just be like, oh, sorry.
And every time I need like a minute, I'll just look in the mirror.
That's like old school Craig Kilborn. I don't know if you ever saw Craig Kilborn. He used to host the Late Late Show like 2 hosts ago, and he was like a tremendous. His character was this huge douchebag. He used to be on ESPN. People didn't like him there, but he was like very smarmy, but like pretty. He was a very handsome guy, but very vain. And he had like he would hold up a mirror in between the TV commercials, and they'd catch him, and he'd be like, "Oh, hello." He would be doing his hair, but I mean, that was his entire shtick. But
it's always wild because people don't get like. I mean, there's truly no. I feel like there's no extreme you can push it to that there's people out there being like mad legitimately, like they don't get that I'm kidding, and I'm doing it self-aware. Like, I'm literally on a stage telling jokes. The things that people have taken seriously.
People are very mean to women.
Yes. Well, that was the other thing.
I think it'd be a good opportunity for me to mansplain how the audience is mean to female comics.
No, you bring up a good point that I hadn't considered, and I appreciate that.
No problem.
No, but it's true, because a lot of people on that show were saying I interrupted and I talked too much. And I finally had a friend go, Claire, these people just think that anytime a woman is talking, it's like too much. Yeah,
maybe you should pipe down a bit, Claire. This interview with you is just going to be me from now on.
That's honestly reasonable.
So you have a podcast.
Yes.
What's your podcast?
It's called Hold On One Second, We're Talking About Britney Spears.
Is that what it's called?
It's
a long title.
Do
you abbreviate that title?
Yeah, we have the acronym HOOSWTABS, which is a little bit easier to remember.
Is it?
No. We really thought it'd be funny to have this name that nobody could remember, and now we're like on episode 62 and being like, wow, wouldn't it be cool if we could market this? But what, mistakes were made, and we just have to... To us, it gets funnier every single week. We're currently doing a limited edition review of the Lindsay Lohan reality show. So right now we're doing, hold on one second, we're talking about Britney Spears presents Lindsay Lohan's Beach House 3 recap series.
I read an article about that show, the Lindsay Lohan show, and it was like in like a legitimate newspaper. It was like a Wall Street Journal reviewing the show, and they were like, this show's really sad.
Yes.
Yeah.
I will say it's sad and it's chaotic, and it's not good. It's truly, as a real connoisseur of reality TV, there's no consistency. There's no game. It's like the way I describe it is I one time heard the story about when people are trying to become Navy SEALs.
Okay.
They'll like send them on like a 13-mile run, and then they'll do this thing where they'll punish the guy who came in last, they'll punish the guy who came in first, and then they'll punish some random guy in the middle, just to let you know that the world is chaotic and evil, and there's no way you can really be prepared enough for war. That you can do your best, but there is no justice. There is no fairness.
There's no
war
fairness.
and life.
Yeah.
And that's how I think of Lohan's Beach House. Like I watch this show and I just go, nothing makes sense. She is she went 5 weeks just being mad. Sometimes she brings in new characters. One time she fired somebody. 5 minutes later, she brought that girl back and just fired her friend. Like, it's so insane in a way that, like, you can't figure out what's going on. There are no stakes, and there is no reason. There's no challenge. Every week doesn't have.
There's no ending.
It doesn't make any sense. And it's what really becomes clear, though, is how like deeply damaged Lindsay is. One of the things is she has these VIP she has VIP hosts, and they're supposed to take care of the clients at her beach house, like the rich clients. And every single week, there's like mild prostitution. The first week, the guy's expected to hook up with the girl to keep her happy. The next week, another guy's I mean, like they're all being whored out constantly. And the fact that like this was okayed for TV, it's just like shows you how damaged Lindsay is, that she thinks this is how business is done, that there's just, of course somebody's going to hook up with you. Like if you're a client.
And they say that? Like your job is to.
They don't say that, but they say your job is to keep them happy and then
whatever
they'll hook
it
up.
takes.
Yeah, and then they'll hook up and then Lindsay will be like, I'm glad that you did what it took. After they hooked. And you just go, oh, this was her life, was just this like her basic understanding of life and like transactions and business is that people are having sex. So that's heartbreaking.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's still a bad show.
Not a good show.
I wouldn't recommend it.
Do you watch The Survivors?
No.
I watched that when it first started, and I keep on waiting because they keep on saying like, because like speaking of stakes, it's always like the more extreme version of Survivor. This year on Survivor, like we're changing the rules and it's going to be crazy, and I feel like everyone's just waiting for someone to die. Since the very beginning of Survivor, they're just waiting for something terrible to happen to somebody.
Yeah, that's the fun of Real Housewives. Of every once in a while, you'll get a husband who's secretly bankrupt, commit suicide, and that's like one of those weird shows where like
it all goes back to like
wild.
People are just watching NASCAR. They're waiting for a car to explode.
Yeah,
like people are just waiting for an accident.
In fact, that's how I feel when people come to my comedy, and
they're waiting for you to fall off the stage.
They will get it. Let me tell you, one day I will just die. I'll get up there and
everybody
be like,
has to come to the Guaranteed Delivery Show March 5th in 1 week at 110 Wall Street at the mailroom.
And it'll probably be the day I die.
And Claire Parker is going to fall off the stage, and everyone has to come and see it.
Humiliation.
It's going to be great.
Just trying to like putter my way through a set and just trip and die.
We're going to make you do it like on a pogo stick. Your entire set, you have to be balancing on a beam or something. It's going to be juggling fire.
That'd be fun.
Yeah. We got to throw in some danger. You know, everybody wants an element of danger.
An element, and that's like everything has to have like a pitch. Everything, it can never just be like a comedy show. It's always like a comedy show where every comedian will bring on their favorite stuffed animal from the 4th grade. And you're just.
I was talking to, I think it was Tom Takar. And I ran into him at Union Hall. Mm-hmm. And there was a show downstairs. I was leaving a show, and they were putting another show in. And the show that I was at was called Serious Matters, which is very, very funny film. Very funny show, once a month. Serious Matters, Union Hall. And I was leaving, and Tom Takar was coming in, and he was booked on a show, and like he had to put together like a PowerPoint presentation. They had to do all this stuff, and he was like, "Yeah, I have to do the show, and I had to have like a presentation I have to make." He was like, "Oh, I wish I could just do comedy."
Yeah.
I could just tell jokes.
That's one of the things I've learned too, is like never fall for if you're a young comedian, never fall for the theme. Because I've done shows where they're like, it's about your hometown, and I'm like scrambling the morning of to do 10 minutes about my hometown, and then I get there and everyone's just doing their set, so everybody's really funny, and then I get up there and I'm like, here's some ideas I came up with this morning because I thought that there were rules here. Do you know what I mean? Like I showed up on theme. It's always crazy to me that people think that they could put together a comedy show and it'll be better when people come less prepared. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm like, I don't know. Tom Takar has a special on Comedy Central. Like, how about we let him decide what is
just
funny?
Let him do his jokes.
He's been working really hard on these jokes.
He's very
I bet
funny.
they've gotten somewhere. I bet he has
some jokes. He does very well.
Yeah.
Let's hear his jokes.
I bet if he thought a PowerPoint presentation would be the funniest thing he could do, he would have already been doing it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, if you're going to book a comic, let them be a comic.
Yeah.
You know, don't make them
But I do feel like you have to play that game to stand out in this city because there's so much comedy, and you're trying to get the Time Out New York review, and you're trying to get, you know what I mean? You're trying to get all of the plugs and all of the things.
There's a funny show that my friend John Zeller produces a show that does get in the timeout a lot, and his twist is it's people can bring their dogs to the show.
Oh, that's
it's called The Good Dog Show. And the show is good, and the show always sells out, and the dogs are very well behaved.
Are they?
Yeah. I've been.
That's incredible.
I've only been twice because in the future after that, it's been so sold out I can't get in.
That's amazing.
And but the dogs are very cute. They just sit there and people do their jokes and no one barks and it's fine.
That's
That's the hook.
There's a cat at Creek in the Cave
that just lives there.
And sometimes we'll pop on stage and it's funny. I mean, it's a nightmare as a comedian because like you're trying to do your jokes and you really just don't even understand what the audience is laughing at this point. And you have no idea it's because there's a cat behind you. So that's kind of a nightmare. But
people, there's a good open mic at the Creek and Cave, isn't there?
I love. Okay. Oh, so speaking of open mics, I started doing a lot of Creek and the Cave open mics. I think for a while I wasn't going just because there was a lot in Brooklyn, and now I've returned. Creek and the Cave is a great staple. They're great because they're every day at 6. There's a lot every day at 6 and 11, so you can always count on them. I feel like logistics are a really weirdly hard part of stand-up.
Yeah.
Open mics. It's just being like, which mic, when, it's free. If I go and sign up, will there be room for me? There's always a spot for you at 6 p.m. and 11 p.m. at the Creek.
Yeah.
And it's great. It has a mix of, veterans, new people. It's a fun mix. I like it. I love the Creek.
So you were on You Up.
Yes.
With Nikki Glazer. Mm-hmm. And you've been on that before.
Yes.
So how did that happen? How does one become a celebrity comedian on the worldwide satellite radio?
I met her just through comedy, through Ian Finance, actually. We had that mutual friend and we met one night and we like really just hit it off. We had a crush on the same guy. We both are very similar in that we will talk about almost anything to anybody. We're both very open and we just got along super well. And she invited me on her show. I guess she gets to bring whoever she wants on it every day. I mean, she truly has my dream job to be able to just talk to your friends every morning.
Yeah.
And get paid to do it. I can't think of anything funnier. I can't think of anything more fun. But so she had me on it, and I had been doing a podcast for I guess a year at that point. So I had a little bit of
same
practice.
Britney Spears?
The Britney one. Yeah, we've been doing that for over a year.
Okay.
So at that point I've been doing it for a while, and I feel like I went and they liked me, and so they keep having me back. And it's been...
That's awesome.
It's been so fun. I mean, it's truly like one of the highlights of my career thus far. It's really fun.
It's a great credit.
It is.
It's huge.
And it's just like so much fun to just get up there and talk and have people listen and interact with you afterwards online.
And I bet they have a nice office there at the Sirius XM.
Yeah, they have a beautiful studio, and it's cool. There's always a lot of celebrities there because people are coming in and being interviewed. It's a ton of fun. Her producer Noah is great. She has other producer Jen, and they're great. And then it's always fun to meet the other comedians that she has on there. Yeah, to get to meet the other people.
Like Andrew
Collin is great. But I meant like today. I'm a huge Mike Vecchione fan. And so I got to meet him through that, and that was really great. I'm trying to think who else I've met. I mean, I really know Tom Takar well because of that show.
He is so funny.
He's so funny. He has one-liners that are just...
When he starts talking about corn, it's hilarious.
So funny and silly.
And he goes from just normal temperament to, like... angry scream.
Yeah, he's got a deep anger.
It's great.
But it's like he can go from talking about something so serious, like his dad abandoning him, or you know what I mean, like hating his stepdad, to then like corn, and it's so silly and so dark and so funny.
And he's such a nice guy.
He's great.
Such a nice guy.
I love Tom. I'm trying to think who else I've met on that. I've had like a lot of fun on that show. I feel like meeting people, but yeah, it's been a great time. Chris DiStefano, I got to do it with once. He's hilarious.
Yeah, they have a lot of... I mean, like, you just get to hang out with top comics.
Yeah, it's really just hanging out. It's been great.
That's fun.
It's really fun.
It's radio.
I love radio. Oh, God, if I could do one thing... I think I would take radio over TV.
You don't have to get dressed.
There's almost no prep work. You really just show up and chat with your buddies.
And you can, like, sound, good looking. So you would do well on television.
Oh, thank you.
And radio.
On radio, I could just tell them.
But people like me, I could be on radio, and I could just sound handsome, And that would be it. That's all you need.
Yeah, podcasting is so fun. I'll show up anywhere and talk to anybody.
So you have to tell an awkward or cringeworthy story.
Okay.
So tell me something that happened. Probably, let's do stand-up something. Mm-hmm. What was like the worst stand-up? It doesn't have to be a horrible bomb, but like, what was the worst thing that happened to you on stage? Oh my God, the worst thing that happened to me on stage. Well, I have like embarrassing, and I have like frustrating as a comedian. I feel like recently I was on stage and there was 2 comedians off stage who were talking so loudly and they were making each other laugh so loud that I couldn't hear myself or the audience. So I had to just like do the whole set deaf almost. Do you know what I mean? And that was awful. But I think I did that set for Ian Finance. Oh, you know what I did? I got to do sets for Jim Norton at Caroline's. And
I had 6, and I would say I had 1 good one, 2 okay ones, and then 3 just really rough ones. And I don't know if you've ever shown up to a sold out show of 350 people who are like excited to laugh and not been able to, but it is
and not been able to.
Fucking brutal.
Wow.
It was tough. And I would look down and it was just like, I remember the front table was like 8 bald Staten Island garbage collectors who were all in their like 50s, and they were just looking up at me. They were jacked as hell and saggy, and I was like, wow, you guys do not care about what I'm up there being like, I get fired a lot. And they were like, we wish you were dead. The last thing we want to hear. So I've had some bombs where I've just been like, you just gotta keep going, just push through. I've had sets that have gone well, and then I end on a suicide joke. And I've had sets that everybody's laughed at every joke, and then I do that. And I don't know if you ever brought 300 people to silence with a joke. 300 people.
I've heard that joke. I thought that joke was good.
Some people don't like it. I do it because I like it, and some people like it. But sometimes it is such a miss. And I had a set where I had 4.5 minutes. It was great. I was like, oh, this is the tape I'm going to use. I left. I just stood there. And normally if you stand on stage long enough, they'll laugh.
Yeah.
I gave them 20 seconds, and then I went, well, I guess I gotta go.
Well, I guess that's over.
It's amazing how your words can bring people up and then bring them down so quickly. Like, it's like shocking to see. They just stopped in their tracks. Yeah. The night was ruined until I got off the stage. I've bombed and had when I did that set with Ian, I had an old man tweet at me later and go, the problem was your jokes are terrible. I don't know if you've ever had a man who can't figure out how to upload an avatar to Twitter, tweet, heckle you, but it is...
That takes some effort, too.
Yeah. I'm like, how did you get here?
Down and to, like, write on a social media platform later about how something earlier you said was disappointing to him.
It was... and he goes, the other girl did it, and she was great. So that was... Yeah. Right? You would think he would have let it go.
I just forget. I forget immediately.
This guy hated me so much, he got online. He had to call up his grandson and say, you explain this bird app to me.
I need to learn how to use this entire social media platform so I can yell at Claire Parker about her not being funny.
And it stuck with me. That was like a year ago, and I'm still like...
Oh, no.
But, the thing about me that I think has allowed...
I'm sure people quietly appreciate your humor.
So I did Jim and Sam, and I've never had more hate online. I had, like, truly hundreds of people between Instagram and Twitter tell me how much they hated me and how listening to the sound of my voice made them want to kill themselves and how they had to turn the dial, and that was the worst thing that had ever happened to radio.
What?
But then I would have like people privately DM me and be like, I thought you were really funny. And I'm just like, okay, can you say this though so other people can hear it? Because right now if you Googled my name, it seems like everybody that's ever heard my voice wanted to die. So you need to like... Because people are so public with their hate and then private with their support. And I'm like, I appreciate when people DM me and they're like, this is funny. But I'm like, if you could tweet it somewhere where other people could read it.
Yeah, could you do that out loud, please?
Yeah.
So your friends can see.
Everyone's deeply ashamed. I know I've had someone say, hey, one day if you ever get a special, I'll be at home cracking up. And he goes, but I'll never laugh at you in public. And I was like, well, that's probably why I'll never get the special.
Claire Parker, everybody. I think you're very funny.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Jeez.
I give it my best shot.
We're going to see what happens next week. Now I'm worried.
I know. I mean, I do my best.
You're going to be like, okay, Marty, you didn't see this online, but now I do hand puppets. It's like, what?
I love that, a prop comic.
I've got melons to smash in front of the audience. You guys in the front should put on some plastic.
I will say, I do feel like that would be a safer. Do you know what I mean? I kind of feel like
just
that's always
Gallagher.
Exciting.
Yeah. Carrot Top.
Yeah.
Prop comic.
I might stop doing comedy altogether and just get up. If I could do a backflip, I wouldn't have had to do this. If I could get up on stage and just like do a handstand for a minute.
I wish I could juggle, you know.
I'm a real acrobatics
fan. But you would much rather just be on television anyway. Or be a TV writer.
Yeah. I don't know. I have to say, now that I've started stand-up, I don't know that I could ever quit. It's such a
don't say that. Don't be like addicted to it like all these stand-up people.
I would love to still write for TV, but I just like can't imagine there's ever a time where it's like more than a week would go by where like I like itch to get on stage, you know? I know, I love it. It's like so hard. I just like want to be good at it so badly. You know what I mean? I'm like, God damn, I just like really would like to just be good at this. Like I see like Ryan Hamilton and I'm just like, God, you are so good. Or like Gary Gulman. Like you just like watching me. I'm like, God, what is it like to be that good at this? To just always be able to make everybody in your wake laugh.
Well, it's just like they get to a level where they're not even trying anymore.
I know. And it's incredible. I mean,
yeah,
it's incredible. So that would be, I would like to just keep trying until I get there or die.
Okay, well, one of those two things will happen.
For sure.
Claire, it's going to be great. Stay and watch to find out.
Yeah, give me another 30 years.
So you can see where are you performing this weekend? Anywhere?
I think your show
down?
is right now. I'd have to look my schedule, but definitely your show.
Definitely go to my show.
Definitely go to the mailroom.
Go to the mailroom. It's guaranteed delivery, 110 Wall Street, 8 p.m. on Tuesday, March 5th. It's free. There's a happy hour that starts at 6:30. Lots of funny people are on the show.
A lot of them are Dan
Andrew,
Perlman is like one of my best friends.
Yeah, it's
going
to be great.
Funny. Andrew Collin, I love.
We just added Keenan Steiner. It's his birthday.
Fun.
So he's
my brother's birthday. I wonder if Keenan's my brother.
Maybe.
We'll find out at the show. Show up to find out.
Show up and find out.
My brother has a twin.
And where can people follow you? You have two different names.
I know.
It's very
everything
confusing.
in my
so
life
tell everybody.
is a branding nightmare. On Instagram, I'm Claire the Scare. That's where the good stuff is, honestly. Yeah. Claire, Claire, the Scare. And then on Twitter, I'm Sorry Don't Claire. If you find one of them, it's very easy to find the other one.
Yeah. They're all connected in some way.
They're all tagged on each other.
All right. Follow me. I'm at Marty Dundix, and follow Weekly Humorist at Weekly Humorist. Sign up for our weekly newsletters at weeklyhumorist.com and go to the Guaranteed Delivery Show March 5th. Free tickets available. Go to guaranteeddelivery.tv. This podcast is sponsored by Swill. Go to getswill.com. A liquor store in your pocket. Use code FUNNY5 for $5 off your first order. This is Talkward. Thanks for listening. Thanks for being on here, Claire Parker.
This was so fun.
This is so much fun. This is Talkward. I'm Marty Dundix. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Thank you so much for
You're
having
welcome.
me.